President Trump saying vaccines could be delivered as soon as next week, but other top doctors, the head of Operation Warp Speed, the head of the CDC, for example, say early December, really looking at that December 11th, December 12th target potentially. So is this the top issue for investors right now? There's a lot of them. Talked about him over the last hour or so. To Delancey Strategies Chief Strategist Jared Levy and Walser Wealth Management President Rebecca Walser. Hello to you both. Jared, let's start with you. When you look at what is, the single biggest issue right now, is it vaccine news to you, or is it stimulus, or is it whatever happens in Georgia, or is it something else driving the train?
Well, you can't count any of that out, right? I mean, I think right now, top of mind for sure is the coming vaccines, right? We've got three sort of majors in the works. We know that around December 11th, 12th, we're going to start to see vaccines disseminated by Pfizer, which again, remember, there's going to be a little bit of a lag here because there's a lot of Americans. I've been talking to a lot of people. Folks are like, I don't know if I want to be the first one. I want to see how it plays out over a couple of weeks. Make sure there aren't any adverse side effects when it gets distributed in mass. But I can tell you that, the sentiment when I'm talking to folks and doing calls, people are feeling good. They're like, wow, we could be getting back to normal by spring. So I think sentiment there on the vaccine front. And then when you talked about, obviously there's a political there's a lot of wrangling going on there, but the picture is starting to look more clear. And yeah, there's still going to be a fight, but it seems as though there's a little bit more of a clearer picture, maybe than there was a month ago. So again, folks are feeling good about that. And obviously, if Biden does indeed move forward and that's the decision that's made and that's the way this thing shakes out, there's obviously maybe a better chance for some stimulus. So a couple little things going on there, but obviously Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, BioNTech, and their partners, top of mind.
By the way, I should note the Dow settled just below 30,000. It was that historic move earlier this week where it popped above 30,000 for the first time. In any event, a great week for the Dow. But we also have the NASDAQ, Rebecca, at record highs. What do you make of it with the Dow bursting through 30,000 and yet again another record for the NASDAQ?
Yeah, I was just hoping, Blake, we could finish out the holiday week with a bang at 30,000, but we missed it by about, I think, 91 points. I agree that the vaccines are going to be huge, but I really am looking more to the holiday season, especially today, Black Friday. They're projecting, as you know, that we'll actually have a bigger holiday increase year over year from what we had last year, which was 4%. So anywhere from 3.6 to 5.2 is a percentage increase, which is kind of shocking for most people, Blake, because you think a lot of people lost their jobs. They didn't have their whole income for the year. It's been really tough for business owners. So to see the expectation that holiday sales will actually surpass the growth potentially that they did even in 2019, because people are talking about emotional buys. It's been a tough year, and they're really looking to, make Christmas special and really, count their blessings. So let's see if that really helps the market. I expect still volatility. I don't expect the election's going to be as solved as everyone seems to think so. And I think that's going to not bode well for the market. They're not going to like uncertainty that I think will come in December. I think we'll see a lot of stuff in December.
Well, Rebecca, you bring up retail. We spoke last hour with the head of the National Retail Federation, Matthew Shea. He sounded pretty bullish on what the upcoming couple months could look like. Listen here.
Consumers overall are out getting engaged in the experience, and we know that they are repurposing a lot of dollars from other sectors of the economy.
You think that's what's going to be happening over the next month or so between now and Christmas? Jared, I'll start with you. That hotel that you might be visiting in, I don't know, that you might even be sitting in right now. That view looks gorgeous behind you. Yeah. But people are not spending on the hotel or the rental car or the plane flight or whatever, and they're going to buy the extra whatever it is for their friends and family.
Well, right. There's been a mass diversion. Remember, everything's kind of lumpy and distorted right now. The whole of the year, people have been sort of stuck in their homes. They're not spending on travel. They're not spending on restaurants, dining out, right? Obviously, there's the takeout stuff. But all that money, all that stress, and Rebecca brought it up, we're kind of like, okay, there's some hope. We want this holiday season to be special. We want to feel good. And I think part of that is redirecting all those funds. And granted, there are still a lot of people without jobs. But you know what? There's a lot of folks who made a lot of money this year, and they're going to take and redirect those funds to gifts, to things that make them happy. And I think right now, the holiday season, listen, it's the one time of year where it's easier to smile, right? I mean, it's, you've got this sort of cultural, social thing going on. So I do think this season is going to fare well. I do think certain retailers, not all of them. I mean, we talked to Macy's is struggling. A couple of the traditional brick and mortars going to struggle. But I do think there's going to be this nice influx, especially e-commerce. Obviously, Amazon going to do well. So I'm looking forward to that. And I continue to buy those retailers.
Rebecca, real quick to you.
I agree. I think that we will have a good holiday season, and I do hope people go out and visit their actual brick and mortar stores, as much as they can. I hope that they go out and do that because we need it this year more than ever, with a lot of stores and a lot of small businesses really being affected. So obviously you do your online shopping, but also try to visit as many stores as possible, because if you don't, they're not going to be there. We need to help retail.
The National Retail Federation, they put out numbers. When you look at it, you say that would be fantastic. Maybe 4-5% sales increase November, December. They're talking about that's probably about $750 billion or so. They say that seasonal hiring should be about 475,000 to 575,000 individuals, workers. Great. But also within that number, last year there were 562,000 seasonal hires. So they're basically saying if we reach our best expectation, it'll meet what happened last year, meaning if they don't reach that expectation, then the numbers are going to come in lower next year as it relates to workers in stores.
Yeah, I think I think we exceed it. I mean, my bet is more on 5.5-6% year-over-year growth if we're looking just the holiday season. Obviously, the way that
what do you make about workers, Jared? Because there might not be the same amount of seasonal workers this go around as there were last year.
There might not be, and there is a caveat there. I think that there's. So remember, right, you've got this big influx of sort of warehouse. It's not as much of a fun job, right? We're seeing more folks coming in and, stocking warehouses for Amazon and helping with shipments. I do think that that's something to look at, but I'm still optimistic. I actually don't agree with those numbers. I think the seasonal worker, while they're not going to make as much perhaps as last year, I think there's going to be a lot more folks involved. I actually think we'll see a revision higher in the seasonal workers, and I think that'll be a strong area. Again, not on the monetary side, but on the number of people who are actually getting to do something, right? They may not be happy in that warehouse. They may not be at the corner Macy's or J.C. Penney, but I actually think that segment will fare decent.
Rebecca, last thoughts to you.
Yeah, let's just hope. I think a lot of people lost their jobs. They're going to have to hire people back and then grow. So it's a tall order, but it can be done. And if there's ever a season for miracles, this is it, right?
We'll leave it there. Rebecca Walser, Jared Levy. Jared, where are you, by the way? What is that back?
I am in Miami, Florida, and yes, I took a vacation because I couldn't take it anymore.
There you go. My hometown. Right. I saw the palm trees. I figured it might be there. Jared, Rebecca, good to see you. Joe's takeaway, Jared. Enjoy.